was able to buy a house and buy a new car, and wound up forming an airline with a bunch of other guys, seven of us, with six others along with myself. Formed the Veterans Air Express Company in Newark, New Jersey, with the idea of flying. I am again. Slim Jim, still from the military service, still a kid. I can't believe I look like a teenager, and got the shape of a teenager. That's when I had hair. Anyway, regarding this airline, we formed this airline to fly passengers between Newark and Miami in a DC-3 that we bought from the government for $13,000, brand new. I think it had 10 or 12 or 13 hours on it, that's all. We stripped it, remodeled it, made it into a passenger aircraft, and we're in business. And then we bought two more, and then there we go. There's the Veterans Air Express Company. We started out as an express company and wound up Veterans Airlines. That's the first DC-3 we bought. That one got wrecked, by the way, over in Teterboro. Anyway, there's the DC-4. We bought these DC-4s for $90,000 from the government. This particular DC-4, we flew to Warsaw, Poland, the first non-military commercial aircraft behind the Iron Curtain. 1946, I think it was 46, early, very early. We flew 50,000 hatching eggs into Warsaw, Poland. We flew from this particular airplane from Newark to it was either Toledo or I can't remember which city in Ohio, donated 50,000 hatching eggs through a church, which we picked up, flew them to up the northern route, Gander, to the Azores, to Orlyfield in Paris, to Tempelhof, and then at Tempelhof we checked in with the Russians and were escorted by two Russian fighters all the way into Warsaw, Poland, where we landed and delivered the hatching eggs to the Polish government. It was really something to sit there with. Of course, I was familiar with Russian fighters during the war because we used to meet them over targets like Ploesti. And so, it was no big deal, but they sat on our wing. They didn't want us to deviate from the course we had told them we would fly, so they watched us all the way and told us we had a 20-mile corridor to fly, which we flew in along with them. This is prior to taking off. This was a Metropolitan Opera star from New York who christened our airplane for us. This is a big publicity deal in New York because Mayor LaGuardia of New York was involved in this, not in financially, but he was involved in getting us this contract in Washington, along with a senator from West Virginia, Kilgore, I think his name was. Anyway, these are all promotion guys that set this thing up. This woman was Yamilia Novotna, I think. She was a Metropolitan Opera star, and she was doing the christening for this just as right before we took off to go pick the eggs up and take them overseas. And this was in all the papers in New York. It was a big deal that these GIs had formed this airline, and we're heading out over. Oops, got to do that little number again. I think we had there we go. Had a big piece of steel on a rope or something for her to hit. Anyway, that looks like that is the end of the ball game. That's the end of these pictures. Remember, these pictures were taken 40 and 50 years ago, and the quality is not so good. But it's the best we have, and I thought maybe you guys might like them. So I had some extra sets made up